need everyone to understand that I'm 18, that I know how to turn a camera on and off, and that I know how to tell people when to stop and to when to keep going. I wanted everyone to see my real, raw emotions because every single person cries, has panic attacks, feels upset, feels like the world's ending. So I want to just be there and show you guys everything.
Alabama Barker, Sophie Rain, Camilla, Piper Rockelle, Brecky Hill, and Jamal. Y'all have 24 hours to respond and cast a vote in whether or not I drop this 18th birthday link.
You guys, Piper Rockelle just turned 18, and instead of it being a cute birthday celebration, the internet is dragging her mom, Tiffany, for the way that she's handling it. From the grown man photographer behind those new photos to the timing that feels way too planned, people are saying it's giving setup. And that's not even all, because right after those pictures dropped, Piper suddenly reunited with her dad. Fans started questioning her aunt on that cruise, and now even Lil Tay herself has jumped into the mix. When you put it all together, it doesn't feel like Piper's stepping into adulthood. It feels like a storyline her mom is still running. So the second that Piper turned 18, the posts started rolling out. And not just regular birthday pics with cakes and balloons, no. We're talking bikini-style shots, highly posed with captions that gave people the creeps because of the timing. It came off way too convenient that Piper's first thing Piper did after turning 18 was post more grown-up, almost provocative pictures. And here's the part that really creeped me out. Like, who's to say some of those photos weren't even taken while she was still 17? Now, to add to that fact, the photographer behind the shots is a grown man, and yeah, people are starting to call it disgusting and exploitive. One comment summed it up perfectly. Is nobody else finding it weird a grown man is photographing this? You couldn't tell me the comments weren't filled with concern. Some fans were literally begging her not to go down the route, leaving messages like, Piper, please don't be like the others, do modeling instead, and praying Piper gets the help she needs. Piper, you know the Lord doesn't want you to have an OF. And honestly, the fact that people even have to say this shows how messy it is. Turning 18 is supposed to be fun, maybe even innocent. But the way that these photos dropped gave people the impression that this rollout was already planned way in advance. Almost like Tiffany, her mom, was waiting for the day that Piper could finally be marketed as grown. And y'all know what happens when it looks like parents are behind a rollout like this. People instantly start bringing up the comparisons. In this case, Lil Tay's name came up first because, let's be real, the whole thing feels eerily similar. Lil Tay turned 18 not too long ago, and instead of easing back into the spotlight, she made it loud. Literally a minute past midnight, she dropped the link, and just hours later, she was bragging about making millions from it. And honestly, that bragging is the most Lil Tay thing ever. She wasn't even trying to play it cool.
Y'all saying, Lil Tay, why'd you drop the link for your 18th birthday? You don't need to ask dumbass questions. Can I ask you a question? Why your mama make you so ugly?
So when people looked at Piper's rollout, they couldn't ignore how close it felt to the same script. The same comparisons now being tied to Piper, and while fans want to believe she's in control, the timing, the style of the photos, and Tiffany's history of controlling Piper's brand all tell a different story. And if that wasn't already making people question what's really going on, Piper's next move made it even messier. She suddenly started posting about reconnecting with her dad. And on the surface, that sounds sweet, right? Like, yay, she's finally getting time with her dad after years of not having him around. But you guys, the timing had people side-eyeing hard because for years, Piper's content has either left her dad out completely or only mentioned him in the most controlled way. And now, right after this big 18th birthday rebrand, he's back in the picture. Fans haven't forgotten that Piper actually did a meeting my dad video when she was 14, and it was supposed to be this emotional, vulnerable vlog where she introduced him to her audience. And in case you missed it back then, here is a short clip of it.
So, next question. Why, like, now did you decide to, like, reach out?
Well, I don't know if you know this. I don't know what your mom told you, but I grew up with divorced parents. My parents were separated, and so I basically saw each parent, you know, I took turns on the weekends, and honestly, I didn't want that for you. I wanted you to have the full experience with your mom.
But just recently, Piper admitted that the whole thing was scripted. She said Tiffany basically told her to fake the moment for views. So if that's true, then Piper didn't really meet her dad on camera back then. It was all staged. Here's how she put it.
A lot of you guys are screenshotting my old YouTube video where I met my dad, but I'm so sorry to break it to you. That unfortunately was very scripted and fake. Those were real emotions that I had though, because again, you know, I've never met my dad. And it was kind of like reenacting what I feel like is going to happen today. I still don't even know if I'm going to go through with this. Like, this is my first day being 18 and I don't know if I can actually bring myself to do it. Like, I think my body's ready to do it, but not like my brain.
That's why this new reunion feels off. People are asking, why now? Why would Tiffany suddenly allow Piper to spend time with her dad when she's been kept away from him all of these years? A lot of people believe Tiffany intentionally kept Piper away from her dad so she could control every aspect of her brand. And now that Piper's legal, she can't block it anymore. One fan even pointed out, notice how she turned 18 and can finally see her dad? And honestly, they're not wrong for wondering, because the whole dad storyline is so tied to Tiffany's control. If the first reunion was fake and scripted, how do we know that this one isn't just another move to soften Piper's new image? Especially with all the Lil Tay comparisons swirling, it wouldn't be shocking if Tiffany tried to counter the backlash with a look, family bonding storyline. But if you thought that was strange, it gets even weirder. Right after the reunion post, fans started pointing out something else, a mystery around Piper's aunt and whether the woman showing up in her recent videos was the same one from that Netflix documentary. And if you've been keeping up, you already know which aunt I'm talking about. If you've been scrolling through TikTok lately, you probably saw the clips from Piper's cruise with the Bop House. In some of those videos, fans spotted a woman hanging around who looked a lot like Piper's aunt.
I wrote him yesterday, he won't even write me back. Well, who cares? Don't write him anymore. I'm calling him. No.
And instantly the comments went crazy. People were like, is this the aunt? At first, fans thought that it lined up. The way that she looked, the timing, the fact that she was suddenly in the mix again, it made people think it was the same woman who spoke out in the Netflix expose. But then other users jumped in to clear it up. One comment straight up said, y'all, the aunt you're thinking about has a sleeve tat. This ain't that aunt. So who's who? Here's the thing. The Netflix Aunt Patience, exposed some of the biggest secrets about Piper's life behind the scenes. She's the one who revealed that Hunter Hill, who everyone thought was Piper's older brother, was actually Tiffany's younger boyfriend. Yep, that whole older brother narrative was just another storyline crafted for content.
Okay, how about this for another kiss?
Oh! That's so weird! Why did you just kiss my brother?
And Aunt Patience didn't stop there. She talked about how Tiffany controlled everything, how Piper's whole childhood was turned into non-stop content, and how toxic the environment was. Basically, she confirmed what people had suspected for years, that Piper wasn't living a normal kid's life, she was living a 24/7 brand strategy. So when fans thought they spotted her on the cruise, they freaked out, because if the Netflix aunt was suddenly back in Piper's life, that would have been huge. It would mean maybe Piper was reconnecting with people outside of Tiffany's bubble, but no, turned out it was a different aunt. And honestly, the cruise itself didn't help. Piper being surrounded by the Bop House while all this family speculation was happening just added to the narrative that Tiffany is still controlling the storylines. Some fans even jumped in to defend her, saying, y'all don't realize the Bop House is safer than her own house. Others called out the hypocrisy, writing, y'all wanted her to join the Bop House and everything, and now that she's hanging out with them, it's a problem. So while the internet couldn't agree on whether the Bop House was good or bad as an influence, the bigger issues stayed the same. Piper's environment is still being shaped and managed by the people around her. Which brings us right back to Tiffany, the one person fans keep pointing to as the mastermind behind every move because at the end of the day, whether it's the birthday rollout, the dad reunion, or the aunt confusion, the pattern always circles back to the same person, Tiffany. And I have gone into this in past videos, so if you've been keeping up, you already know the details. The point is, the lawsuit filed by former squad members plus all the other allegations was just the beginning. There's more on Tiffany and none of it's good, you guys. Like, if she really did allegedly send Piper's underpants to older men, you already know those are the same people waiting around for her to finally drop the link. Now, at the time that I'm making this, Piper hasn't dropped anything like that, and some fans were actually relieved, with one even commenting, so I want to say I'm proud of her for not dropping a blue page link, like I gained some more respect for her for it. But then of course, there were others saying stuff like, girl, she's been 18 for what, 2 days? How do you know it's not coming? So even when Piper doesn't do something, the talk never stops, and it all comes back to Tiffany. Once people believe your parent is setting you up, every single thing you post gets read like it's part of a bigger plan. And the comparisons don't just end with fans. Even Lil Tay herself jumped in. Under one of Piper's most recent videos, Lil Tay commented, "What happened to us?" And Piper replied, "I was nothing but kind to you. Wish you the best always." And honestly, that just made the talk louder because both girls grew up online, both had parents accused of putting fame first, and both changed their whole image the second they turned 18. That's not a coincidence. That's a cycle. So when people warn Piper could be next after Lil Tay, they're not just being dramatic. They're pointing at a pattern that's already playing out in front of us. And right now, it doesn't look like Piper's taking control of her life. It looks like Tiffany is still the one in charge.